Star 94.5, the soul of Orlando. It's time now for Monica May's Point of View, a show that delves into the issues that affect you. We believe in transparency and providing only the facts. And now, here's Monica May.
Good morning, family, and thank you so much for finding it not robbery to get up with us. Oh, Dark 30. We've got a great show for you this morning. We're going to learn about one of the best kept secrets, I think, for employment in our community, CareerSource of Central Florida. We're going to be speaking with their brand new COO, Tadar Muhammad. We're going to learn about training, certificates, and employment in areas that are cropping up like you would not believe. We'll learn more about the ALICE population. We'll also talk about people on opioids and how they can be helped through CareerSource of Central Florida. We'll also talk about employing the least of these. That's in the first hour of Point of View this morning. In the second hour, this is National Minority Donor Awareness Month. And from our legacy, we have the pleasure of having back from that organization, Kia Blair. Dr. Parikh will be with us. He's a nephrologist and critical care doctor. Both are affiliated with the Our Legacy program that runs out of Advent Health. And we'll get an update from none other than Charlize Simmons, the wonderful singer whom we spoke to last year, who was looking for a kidney. We'll find out if she's found one and how she's doing today. Right now, let's check in on that conversation I had with Tadar Muhammad. Last time we were together, Tadar, we were laughing about this, was when you were with HBI, Home Builders Institute.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's been, what, almost 10 years now?
It's been a while. Yeah.
Wow. I'm so proud of you. I watched you move into United Way. First of all, I watched you get your MBA over at the Crummer Graduate School of Business over at Rollins College. Yep. I was so proud of you doing that.
Absolutely.
You know, and then going over to United Way after that. And then ultimately landing now as Chief Operating Officer over at CareerSource. What does that job entail?
So the job entails so many wonderful aspects of everything that we do. Part of it is helping individuals get jobs.
You're back with touching the people.
I'm touching the
Yay!
people. Yes, Monica, touching the people.
Yes.
So this job is really the combination of both. So helping those that we partner with, the businesses, the organizations, as well as finding resources within the community, as well as helping those get jobs and skilled labor, which is fantastic.
This is amazing because this is a full circle moment, because before with HBI, you were more on the construction side and you were building programs and just giving life to different men and women who came across your path. When I say, oh, he's touching the people again, I literally mean that. Tadar does so well as that one-on-one kind of build you up person. He finds the good in everyone, and that's a phenomenal, that's an attribute.
Back at you, because I know you are much the same. We share that.
You know, thank you very much for that. So as the COO of CareerSource, first of all, we want to know more about CareerSource Central Florida.
Sure. CareerSource Central Florida is a nonprofit. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
It's a nonprofit organization that is one of 24 regional workforce boards around the state. Basically, we serve a 5-county region. So we serve Orange, Osceola, Seminole, Lake, and Sumter counties. And in those, our mission is to connect Central Floridians to careers and then also to develop talent for businesses. Those are the two things that we really do. On one side, we're helping those individuals that need it the most, those Central Floridians that are looking for ways to get into jobs and figure out a way. And then we're also helping the businesses really find the talent to support their businesses as well.
Do they just walk in the door of CareerSource? And where are some of your locations?
Yep. We have 5 career centers strategically around supporting all 5 of those counties that I talked about. We have one in the West Oaks Mall. We have one on the south part of town, close to the airport. We have one in Seminole County as well, and then one a little further out, that sort of serves Lake and Sumter as well. But what's interesting about it is that you can do a couple different things. Yes, you can walk in to a career center and ask for help. That's one way. You could do it virtually. So there's a number of virtual services that are available too. All of this on our website will allow you to book an appointment and be able to go in and get those services that you want.
Before we go any further, then, what is that website?
CareerSource CF.com.
Okay, they do everything from assisting you with your first-time resume to helping you update your resume, getting you ready for that first-time interview, brushing up with you if you are a more seasoned job seeker.
Absolutely.
And how do you walk in the door? Now, when we talk about our seasoned job seekers, what are those ages and what might be available for them if they were coming in search of a job?
Sure. 16 to unlimited in many cases.
Okay.
So we help anyone that's looking for a job. But that niche market is right around that, probably 24 to 44, somewhere in that sort of middle age range. And if they've already seasoned, they're already, sort of on their path and something happened that knocked them off and they're ready to get back on, perfect opportunity to come in and be able to get those services and upskill. So a lot of times you may already have what you're looking for, but you want to sort of dig in a little deeper, or you want to upskill to figure out what else can I do? We help with that too. Coaching, career coaching, all the above.
Let's really explain what that career coaching is. It's an opportunity for somebody to sit with you, learn from you what it is you've done already and what it is you may aspire toward. And a lot of people don't really know. So what they'll do is they'll pull out some of your attributes, some of the things that you are best at.
That's right.
And then they can match you from there.
I think the key word, you just said it, is matching what you really want to do, those passions and desires that you really have or want, taking those passions and then making it a reality on the other end by saying, hey, you know what? I really like these things. We can go in and tell you exactly what jobs are available now, what jobs are available in the future.
Wow.
What locations might be more important for you to go into and others. So it's a lot of different ways that we use all of the intelligence that are in our wheelhouse to be able to share with others.
It's interesting. We had a conversation with Lawana Gelzer not too long ago about the extreme heat, and that requires the skill set of environmentalists. And so she now offers scholarship opportunities for students to learn more about the environment. And she said, I predict that this will be an area of expertise that our students need to know more about.
100%. That is so important. And sort of that's an area that CareerSource Central Florida offers too, is that we have some of those expertises by some of the work that we do and some of the platforms that we utilize, working together to figure out what businesses are saying and what they need, and then being able to match that with individuals that want to go into those career fields.
What makes this so important for you to do? You did it over at Home Builders. You've done it throughout your career. You're a coach almost.
Absolutely. Yeah. Monica, the reason is, it's tangible, right? Yeah. So, everyone's got a story around a job. Everyone at the end of the day wants to work in some capacity. And so being able to sort of play matchmaker on both sides of it is fun. It's fun to hear from the businesses of what they want to do, but it's just as fun to hear when that career seeker has found what they really want to do and then years later can go back. I can remember stories when I was 15. When I started working, I had no idea what I was doing, but I was working at Table Supply. Right at Colonial and John Young. Okay. And I was pushing carts, but the joy of being at 15 to have my own money, my own bank account, which was the Barnett Bank at the time. It was
work with
everything.
people at that young?
No, I was one of those individuals trying to find my way. And the joy I found in terms of helping other people
It started
very early for me.
That is so wonderful.
And I think what's also important to share is Home Builders, I was building programs all around the country.
Yes.
Which was wonderful. But what I was missing was I wasn't able to sort of think through that in my own community. I did some, but I wasn't here. I was traveling a lot. And so to be home, Monica, and be able to do what I love, it's nothing better.
Let me tell you personal stories. That was the only reason that you had to abandon that position, because your family was growing.
That's right.
And you really wanted to be there. That is so wonderful. Tadar Muhammad is the Chief Operating Officer at CareerSource Central Florida now. For the first time in quite a while, he gets a chance to touch people and just help them move to their next best spot. He helps people and businesses make the match that is considered a perfect fit. And that's the wonderful thing. So I walk through the door of one of the CareerSource Central Florida locations, and what's the first thing that's going to happen?
You're going to talk to a receptionist that's going to basically say, how can we help you today? And I think from there, they're then looking to find what is necessary or what you need, and then be able to hook you up with a career counselor or a career consultant, as we call them, or a business consultant. Both of them are available to you at the Career Center to be able to sort of dig a little deeper. And I think it's really figuring out what you need.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. Is really, it's not about what we have to offer, it's what you need. And then based on what you need and what you think that is important, then we take you on a journey, as I call it. And on that journey, we're sort of figuring out, let's talk about it. Let's figure out some assessments that make sense. Let's have some conversations about where you want to go and what do you want to do. And then it's about sort of then saying, okay, well, here's some opportunities that exist in the community, or here's some businesses. And then based on that, you have someone to sort of help and walk you through exactly what that's supposed to look like on that journey.
And you know what? There's no better comfort than knowing you've got somebody within arm's reach that, oh my gosh, I'm stuck right here. I don't know what to do. And I think that I'm really saying that from a seasoned person's perspective, someone who may even be in their 50s, 60s and wanting to do something to supplement their, say, their monthly income. You have positions like that?
Absolutely.
See,
there
this is
are
what people need to know.
wonderful things happening. And a lot of that is available to them. They just don't know how to access it. And like I said, a lot of those services are also virtual. So if you're not comfortable, don't want to leave the home, and you just want to call and try to figure it out, call us, and we have a virtual services opportunity that they can book right through our website that allow them to sort of have someone to sort of navigate and help them figure out. And if that means that the virtual services leads to an opportunity to go in, then fine. That's what they are helping you support. And, or if it's another resource, if it's a resource that we don't have, we're often available to try to connect them with resources, because we also know that in this system of workforce development, we can't do it all. So we want to support others too. So if there's things within the community that says, hey, you know what, I have things when I was with United Way, there were things that were important that we didn't do outside of workforce development, or that we did. We were able to connect them with those resources too. And I think that's helpful too.
I wanted to ask how a particular job, say I have a program. We went through this a couple of weeks ago. Someone came to us and said, I have this phenomenal job offer, but I got to find a way to get it funded. It's a great program. And do you all do things like that?
I think that's a great question. Frankly, I think I get that question probably once a day, where someone is saying, you know,
I got this program.
Yeah. I think a couple things. One is we look at things that are in demand. So a lot of times what's important for people to know is that, you know, that we have a list that we have to follow that says, here are the in-demand jobs that are important, that if they're not on that list of in-demand jobs, it's hard for us to fund them. But if they are on that list, then there's a process that you go through.
Gotcha.
And that process is also on our website. And it's under the tab that talks about us. And then it speaks to work with us. And to me, that's the best place to go, because there's a list and there's a vendor link that says, hey, I want to work with you. What do you want to do? And there's all this information you can put in. You can upload documents. You can specify, here are the things, whether it's products, whether it's services, whether it's things that we don't know about that may be happening in the community. All that can be put into the system for us to be able to look through.
So again, you would go to CareerSourceCF.com.
Correct.
And just click on one of the links above. We're talking about employment this morning, a big key factor right now, especially with our young people getting ready to go back to school. Do you offer after-school employment?
Not necessarily after-school employment, but to some degree. We call it sort of year-round youth programs. So those year-round youth programs.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to empower young adults, particularly from the ages of 16 to 24, with skills, training, and career services to jumpstart a career. Absolutely.
They get paid.
Internships.
They get paid.
Some do, some don't. So it depends.
But I would
Depends
get
on
credit or something. Something would work out.
Right. Whether it's a certification, whether it's a scholarship, whether it's internship, there's a lot of variables there that they have to qualify for. But if they do, it's a great opportunity for them. A good, wonderful example is we're right at the tail end of our summer youth program. And we run summer youth programs every year. We're a little over 1,000. It's our largest group this year.
Tadar.
Yeah.
Almost 1,000 students.
A little bit more. That they are connected to a little more than about 100 or so businesses. And then we're connecting with 1,000 or so kids that are out in the community either doing one of three things. They're either exploring opportunities, they're engaging with a particular business, or they are experiencing where they're actually doing work experience on a job site for 5 weeks. Amazing.
This is good. I need to put you in touch with management here at Cox Media. So,
please.
Yes, I will definitely.
Please.
Yes, I will do that, because as I'm going through my mind, it's like, you know what? This is a great time for students to get engaged. There's 7 radio stations under this roof, and we're always looking for interns, and a lot of times it's just not there for them. So,
well, and vice versa, we get a lot of young people that have an interest in radio and wanting to figure out, how do I learn? And to me, that's
tell them to call me.
That is the most fantastic, Monica.
Tell them to call me.
To be able to have these young people want to explore. I'll tell you, one of the things that happened this summer that I have to tell you, because it's, again, a unique opportunity, right? So Orange County government wanted to sort of showcase the public services side, and we call it the Public Sector Academy. Monica, if you saw these young people learning about the jobs and careers within government that people don't even think about, oh my gosh, to the point where it culminated in lunch with the mayor. So Mayor Demings invited all the young people, it's about 30 young people, to his office with all of the executives around the table. And they were able to have lunch, ask questions of the mayor. They took a picture in the mayor's seat to be able to be in his office, and the mayor is standing behind them. So every kid got their own photo. But what was most important was these kids at the end were able to share these experiences to say, I never knew that there was a public works department. I never knew that there were all of these divisions within county government that they could learn about.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
Because of the fact that I volunteered with Orange County for almost 4 years now, directly with Mayor Demings on what is called the MLK initiative. I just left that role, but I have been there during times when some of the kids were there, and the preparation that the different departments went through to get ready for these kids. They were just as excited to have the students, because it gave them some, I don't know, almost a way to puff up their chest, to talk about their jobs, to introduce these young people to something that they themselves had never experienced other than having that job in public works or whatever the division was there in Orange County. So I just wanted to let you know that the adults there were just as excited, and you can mark my words on that one. That was so cool.
It was
great idea, great opportunity.
And we're looking to expand that with the county. You know, we run a Level Up Orange program, which has been a significant program.
What is that?
It is a program that the Orange County government funded coming out of COVID. And there was an opportunity for them to use the dollars that they got from the federal government to help empower our residents within Orange County to be able to find jobs, educate themselves, upskill, all of the above. You know, we're so grateful for that partnership. And it shows that it's not just somewhat the dollars that run down from the federal government, but also other ways to connect with CareerSource Central Florida that look and feel different than what you might see, because sometimes you can't help everyone because some of those funds are very restricted, and there are certain guidelines that have to be followed from the state and the federal government. This allows us to be able to expand those opportunities to think differently, be innovative, be creative, what we call being bold.
Is that why you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
I am bold.
That's
I like
right.
that.
Yes. It's a way for us to be able to show our team members, our staff, how to do certain things. So the B stands for being brilliant at the basics. So we want to work in our community with our team to be brilliant at the very basics. We want to optimize innovation, which is what the O stands for. The L is about leading people, and the D is delivering resilience. So we know that in order for us to be successful, that we have to continue to be innovative. Our CEO, Pam Neighbors, is a wonderful person, but also a huge advocate for being different. We're the second largest workforce system in the state. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay. So now how can the praises be sung a little louder, a little clearer, and extend a little bit further? That was why I fought so hard to get you in here. This was a long time coming.
Absolutely. Yes.
You know?
And one thing I'll tell you is that we have about 300 or so employees.
Wow.
In the region. And, when I went around to visit, I've only been on the job 2 months, so I'm still learning myself, right? But as I went around to hear the stories, you've got employees that have been working at a particular career center for 15, 18, 20, 30 years of support, helping our community. It's been just one of those environments where that everyone's happy and proud to be a part of such a wonderful mission. And they get more joy out of seeing the people succeed than anything else. And that's been the fun part for me.
Shout out at this moment, ringing loud for Gail Presley.
Oh.
Gail Presley, I sing your praises, because for as long as she's been under the umbrella of CareerSource, that is the bell that she's been ringing. She has come to speak to the mothers and daughters at my Let's Spill the Tea. She has come on the radio here to talk about CareerSource. This was years ago. She's done so many wonderful things, and she always talks about CareerSource Central Florida. So it's got to be something in the water there. No, not just kidding. But it's got to be something about what they're doing over at CareerSource Central Florida. Tadar Muhammad is their new Chief Operating Officer. You're replacing someone who they really, really love. How's it been walking in her footsteps?
Oh, Conan has been the face as the COO for 8 years.
Wow.
With CareerSource. It's been phenomenal. She left a wonderful legacy. She's a wonderful person.
Did she leave a notebook open for you?
She did. She said, Tadar, here's where you go. Here's what you do. Her, the other team members, as I mentioned, the vice president for service delivery, her name is Nilda Blanco, very well known in the community. She has been with the company, but she's been with the company for 11 years as well. But what's interesting is that she's been in this workforce system, worked with her directly over the years, long before CareerSource, in other capacities. And so she's a great teammate.
This is so cool. So this is almost not coming home, but at least you're surrounded with people you knew or, are easy enough to get to know.
Yeah, the fun part was I was on the other side. So HBI had contracts with CareerSource Central Florida too.
Gotcha.
And we did a lot of work with veterans. I think one of the things that a lot of people don't know too, we have a wonderful relationship with the department now is the Florida Commerce.
Okay.
They've changed the name. It used to be the Department of Economic Opportunity. They've changed the name to Florida Commerce. And we've had a wonderful relationship with them to support our veterans in the community. We have amazing team members that do nothing but support our veterans. And in many cases, they're veterans themselves. And a lot of people don't know that that's a service that we offer to anyone, that they become priority in our community.
Gotcha.
In terms of services.
This is so important. One of the things that I'm going to ask again, and I'm going to be a part of the bell ringers from now on, is getting the word out about CareerSource Central Florida. Gotta do that.
Yes.
So that lets me know that maybe marketing dollars are not the biggest, because you'd rather use your dollars within. So that means that everybody who is like me in media has to get out there and talk about CareerSource and their opportunities that they offer our community.
And partner together. I think there's so many wonderful businesses that are doing amazing things that our young people, our adults don't think about. We have so many resources to help support businesses that are looking for either talent or they're struggling to figure out, what do I do? How do I find the right people? We can help. And sometimes it's beyond just, a conversation. I'm a big believer that it's collaboration all day long.
Oh, yeah.
So
Relationships.
I love to build relationships and we grow together. And so if there's opportunities for us to figure that out, I would love to spend time just learning about the businesses in our community and hearing what they need so that we can then come back and create a plan that I think helps them to be successful.
Strategy and working to implement the strategic endeavors of a company is what Tadar really, really specializes in. And as you were Chief Development Officer over at Heart of Florida United Way, you were able to work some of your magic over there too, huh?
Oh, yes. I still have wonderful relationships and all the great work that United Way does for our community that a lot of people don't know.
So what can we do to be bell ringers for the United Ways and the career sources?
I think we've got to sit down and talk about that. That's a strategy in and of itself. But I think the assumption is that we all know what everyone does. But what I learned with United Way was there were so many things that even just as simple as calling 211 has the plethora of resources that they have just by calling if you need help. The ALICE population, you might not know that just are working every day but are struggling. They're struggling to get by. Those kinds of conversations, a lot of those employees already exist.
Put a pin right there. I reached out to somebody over at Heart of Florida United Way. They sat on the membership with the MLK initiative to be able to bring them on to talk about the ALICE people. Let's talk about that for just a moment. ALICE stands for?
Asset Limited, Income Constrained, but Employed. And you pull it on my old hat, but I love it because I believe in it. So the ALICE population are individuals like you and me that are working in everyday jobs, but they're struggling to make the ends meet. They're trying to figure it out. They're working hard. They're working 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, just to be able to support their family. I wasn't aware of the ALICE population before I started with United Way, but what I quickly learned was that I know a lot of people, and including myself at one point in time, that was in that space. They just needed a hand up. And what it does is it sort of tells you that you really don't have a lot of assets. A lot of people don't have money in the bank. A lot of people don't have, their income is constrained by the job of choice or job of demands that they had to take, but they're working. And so a lot of times people think that they're below poverty. No. And with affordable housing going the way that it is and all the other struggles that we find with rising prices and things like that, it's making it harder and harder for those individuals to figure it out.
The rent increases here in Central Florida alone, 75%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's almost like $400 or $500 increase. And that information was just brought to our attention just recently. And what we have to understand is that increases the negligence, I say, of homelessness. And I say homelessness is a negligence because what happened before? What did we miss before this person who was part of the ALICE population became homeless?
Yeah, and to your point, individuals that lose their jobs, people are being laid off. There are challenges associated with that. And that, I may have been working in this environment for years and years and years, and then for whatever reason, now that job is gone. Now I'm faced with a crisis, or my rent went up, and I can't afford it anymore. So what I was doing every day no longer works. And so I think that's where we can band together. And I love the fact that I've had that experience with Heart of Florida United Way because it gives me the strength to say, I know what to do now.
Okay. Let's just put in a plug right now. If you are part of that ALICE population, please, please, please dial 211. Please, please, please reach out to CareerSource of Central Florida. There are ways to help yourself before you hit that level of homelessness.
Sure.
And I won't say the bottom. And I won't say the bottom because to me, the bottom is when you're dead.
That's right.
You always have an opportunity to pull yourself back up. You just need a hand, and you just need to know where to go. And like Tadar said, 211 is one of the least dialed numbers that has the most impact on what your future can look like. Again, Tadar Muhammad is the COO, the Chief Operating Officer at CareerSource Central Florida. And one of the reasons why he left Heart of Florida United Way helping people to move into this part is that his legacy has been built on touching and helping and moving the needle for people who are considered in need. Some may be the least of these.
Absolutely. I told Pam Neighbors early on, and I told Jeff Hayward, the CEO for Heart of Florida United Way, the same thing, that, for me, it's a blessing, right, to be able to say, hey, you know what? I love raising money to support our community, which I do. Those are partnerships, those are relationships. But I also love this idea of being able to go out and see the impact myself, to be able to create impactful things in the future. So it's the blending, and most of my career with HBI was operations. And then later in life at HBI, after 20 years, I wanted to do more development. And so I got into development by choice. And now I have the pleasure of doing both. I have the pleasure of trying to think innovatively of how we can be resilient as an organization, because you can't rely solely on the dollars that are coming in from the federal and state government, which are being reduced as we speak. But you can't rely on that. And so part of what we want to do with CareerSource Central Florida is partner together with philanthropic organizations and other groups to be able to sort of say, hey, as a nonprofit, support us too, because our goal is to help self-sufficiency for individuals that need it in our community.
And that piece on self-sufficiency, that goes a long, long, long way, longer than you would ever even imagine. Some of the programs that you all offer lead to jobs in what areas more specific?
We look at, as I said earlier, these high demand industries.
Which would be what?
Information technology. So all things technology is, our community
Talking
is
computers then, huh?
ripe. Not just computers. I'm talking all kinds of things that are allowing us to sort of think differently through technology in our community. So that's one. Healthcare is another one.
Okay.
We are in desperate need of nurses and IT professionals too. Some other ones, advanced manufacturing. Our community is moving quickly to be a manufacturing hub for all kinds of things, particularly related to technology in the semiconductor area, and others down in Osceola County is growing fast in this area. Hospitality, as you well know, this area is always been a hot spot for hospitality and remains an opportunity that we've got to continue to support our hospitality partners in that regard, as in high demand jobs. Construction, clearly. And utilities and trade and transportation. Those are those top areas that we do a lot of work in within those industries to support those that are either looking for ways to get into careers or those that are looking to upskill and figure out new opportunities that might be available to them.
You know, it just hit me, and don't be offended by this. Is CareerSource sort of like the old school temp agencies?
Ooh.
Don't be offended. Don't be offended.
No. I'll say no.
Let me tell you something. In between radio gigs, you know, I would always get and could be hired by some of those temp jobs. You know, have been offered opportunities, but I would always hold out. Nah, it's going to be another radio gig coming right around the corner. But to keep food coming in.
But I think to your answer is, in some cases, that's yes. But I think what we're sort of looking for is...
No, you're not. You're not.
The long game.
Yeah.
It's the career pathway that we really want to put people on.
It's the training that you all offer. And this is free for people
that are with our partners or through some environment. Yes. So Valencia is a wonderful partner of ours as an example. So we support a lot of their programs. For those, we provide scholarships for them to be able to participate in a lot of their programs that they offer. A lot of those short-term training programs, and there's several of them that we support, but they have to be on what we would call this eligible training list. And then on that list, they have the ability to receive services and scholarships through those environments.
So again, what you'll have to do is go directly to CareerSourceCF.com in order to find out those preferred lists.
Absolutely.
And partners.
Absolutely.
Who are on that list. And so that answers how does someone enroll in some of the training programs that are offered through CS. What more can we add to that piece right there? Anything else?
Yeah, I would say look for those opportunities because they're there. Work experience, Seminole State College, we work with them too. So it's not just...
How do you work with Seminole State College?
In the same way. So they support truck driving. So they have a wonderful truck driving program, which is probably one of our larger programs in Seminole County, but across all five. But we also do work in Lake and Sumter. We work with colleges both in Lake and Sumter County. We also support a number of things down in Osceola that help in all of those areas. It's really about what it is that those career seekers are looking for, and then how do we then tag in with our business community to help them do that. And we have business consultants on the ground every day, and that's what they do in all of those areas. And as they walk into the door and they look for ways to be able to support them, we also have other grants that are a part of that. We're working with those that are struggling with opioids and
Tell me
helping
a little
them
bit
too.
more about that. Yeah.
We call that program Forte. It's called Fostering Opioid Recovery Through Training and Employment. And we receive funding through the state of Florida to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic and provide training to businesses, but also to aid those job seekers and workers who've been impacted through addiction. That could be training, certification, education. We work with local employers and human resources professionals to support the recovery in our community. Very, very wonderful program. That's a great example of people wouldn't know that those are resources that we provide, but we're helping those communities through those environments as well.
Let me ask you, on that same level of assistance to the least of these, we wouldn't know about that. What about people that need second chances?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
That is another wonderful area of opportunity for us too. They get those support in any of our career centers that we have, and designed specifically to help them figure out a way for them to remove those barriers for them to get meaningful employment so they can have sustainability in their life. It's a soft spot for me. I've worked with that group probably more than any other group. And we sort of, a buddy of mine, Gene Martin, him and I, we use this terminology that's called not underserved, but underestimated. That we underestimate the abilities of vendors. So those that are those underestimated populations can thrive and survive through anything. They just need someone to show them the way, and they're willing and open to do that.
I like that. You call them again the underestimated.
Underestimated. You hear all these other acronyms that sort of put you down. You're underserved, that sort of have these negative or demeaning connotations, at risk. All of those things just sort of, they sort of plague you as a label, and then you start to feel like you're part of that label. So removing those labels and calling people underestimated, you always want the underdog to win, right? You always want the underdog to win. So
again, let me just see if I can wrap up some of what we've had on our plate this morning, and thank you for filling it up. We've had a great conversation. I always find a way to throw in the word robust. So we've had a very robust conversation with the COO, the Chief Operating Officer for Central Florida CareerSource. And if you're looking for it on the website, it would be CareerSourceCF.com. Tadar Muhammad. Tadar Muhammad is not new to the game. He's true to the game. As the former, what were you, the COO of Chief Development Officer for HBI? What was your title there?
I was the Senior Vice President for Development and Strategic Partnerships.
So he had that long title over at HBI, and that's where I met him years ago, Home Builders Institute, where they took members of our population that were underestimated, and they were able to give them their boots, their shoes, their collars that they could, kind of clip up and stuff, and just make them feel so much better about themselves.
And Monica, shout out to HBI, right? So they still do run amazing programs locally.
Yeah.
So we have a Build Strong Academy that is local, that is providing services free to individuals that want to get training. That's still available, and been doing that now for a couple of years, even post my time there. There's also Project Bridge, which I was a part of building that legacy.
I remember
that's
that.
10, 11 years now.
Yes.
They're partnered, that's Eckerd Kids. They're running that. That's still available for kids that are coming out of the justice system and are looking for jobs. They're looking for opportunities. Still running strong. That's been great. Veterans programs, we're still getting support for veterans programs. And then my other initiative with them was Department of Corrections, still supported in our local community. So I feel so good because I have all of those wonderful
legacy. That's
programs
what I said.
that are still thriving in our community today that were built years ago. And then obviously the Heart of Florida United Way is always, a support system, but all intertwined into this idea of helping people survive and thrive, but also through this lens right now of employment. And
we keep saying that there are no jobs out there. You say what to that?
It's a great question. I say that there are jobs out there. It's a matter of getting the skills and the training to go get it. And I think opportunities are there. We just have to align what you're passionate about with what jobs are available. And I think people in many cases have to be, particularly young people, have to have an open mind sometimes. I believe that experience is our greatest gift that we could give to our young people. If we can give them the experiences. And I use the example when I was in high school at the great Evans High School.
Here we go. He's a Trojan, everyone.
Yes, indeed. The wonderful Evans High School.
Yes.
In 1990, one of the best things that they could have ever done for me was I took all kinds of classes, right? So you learned how to do sewing, you learned how to cook, you learned all of these, they called them industrial arts back in the day.
And we called them home economics.
Home economics. All of those things, Monica,
are so important.
Those skill sets are all about those experiences. And so I feel like, and I've always felt like, if we expose kids to things that they've never thought that they could be exposed to, that the opportunities for them are exponential, just through the single lens of being able to expose them. I had it. They went away. Nowadays, It's not as important and relevant. And so I think what we're trying to do, and I think now you'll see that CareerSource has this goal of sort of the headlines. Our CEO calls it a headlines in the next 3 years, that we're going to diversify our revenue streams and that we're going to work with middle school and high school kids in the years to come so that we build that pipeline from middle school all the way up to what we call the encore. I don't know if you heard that term
No.
yet. There's this encore, which is your older workers, sort of those encore careers. So after you've done all that you've wanted to do and you want to have this encore career, how do we make sure that you have the availability to do that? So middle school, encore, the whole continuum. Our job is to ensure that all Central Floridians have that opportunity.
Well, this is wonderful, and this is very new to hear something like that. Encore. You're right. It is a phrase that I've not heard. No, we weren't prepared to hear about that. And I like that. I like that. I like anything that is inclusive of my young people all the way up to my more seasoned elders and my experienced folk.
Oh, yes.
Is what I say. You know, something that I don't want people to ever forget about. You know, this country was built on our black backs with skills that we have lost. And so a home builders, a CareerSource, things of that nature can give you that opportunity to recapture and learn for the first time some of those skills in welding, in bricklaying, in paving. There's no reason that I did not see one black paver in my neighborhood as they were putting down new sidewalks, as they were paving some of the street sides. I don't know what they were really doing, but not one person looked like me. And as I'm walking my dogs, that's all I kept saying. I'm shaking my head. I'm saying good morning to everybody, waiting for a black person to show me maybe he's driving the concrete pouring truck. Not. So I'm just saying, let's give opportunity where opportunities can outlast us. There'll always be need for some of the jobs that you were talking about.
And I think what you're describing is, if I've got a legacy to leave, I want to be instrumental in helping to carve out those jobs, that there are opportunities for us in every industry. And you start to look at it and you start to see that we don't appear in a lot of the industries that are probably more on the high end in terms of financial wealth, that we're not as prevalent as we need to be. And so if I could do anything, particularly in the area of technology, is a huge area of opportunity for us to maybe make a mark, is to give those skills to those individuals in those communities, that they too have the opportunity to grow and be just as successful as anyone else in our community. But a lot of times we don't have the access to the resources. A lot of times those resources aren't available in those communities. And I think that's what we're seeking to change in all demographics, but particularly in our communities where we have women and men of color, that we need to make a difference.
Y'all better not sleep on CareerSource of Central Florida, because they are there and they're about training in areas that we've forgotten about.
Absolutely.
They're also adept at giving us the what to on skills that are going to be needed in our futures.
Absolutely.
And I say futures plural because it's going to be all of us that are going to be accessing this information once we finish this interview. I bet you CareerSource, SOURCE, CareerSourcecf.com. CareerSource.com. There is an About Us tab up top, and you can pull that down and you can find some of the programs that they do offer. I was on the website not too long ago, and I was so impressed by the different opportunities that CareerSource offers for free. In most instances, you can walk in the door and find a career guide right there who will be able to usher you into an area and just help you.
Absolutely.
Now, I will say, I would like for you, because this goes back to when we were doing job fairs back in the day with, I used to do it with the morning show. I used to throw everything under the tag of Tom Joyner, and we used to do job fairs. And when we did them, the one thing, and people would become incensed with me, but I would say, please, today is not the day to wear your shortest skirt and flip-flops. Or your do-rag or your bonnet. Don't get mad at me. Be grateful that I'm just giving you that nudge, that reminder to come in there dressed for success. I used to bring jackets with me that I would get from Dress for Success, and we'd have some shirts and available for you, and you could keep those if you came in underdressed, is what I would say. But you don't know what you don't know.
Those were the days, Monica.
How do you deal with people who may not want to work for anybody but want to become an entrepreneur?
Oh, we support that too. The gig economy is live and well. I think that there are opportunities there too. And some of that is partnerships. Some of that is coaching, right? So it's putting them with the right environment that they can explore that opportunity too. It just depends on what they want to do. You go back to some of the thoughts you talked about with Dress for Success. We work with them too. So they work with us at our West Career Center to help the young people, and they help others. They have an office, a small place where they have set up to be able to support them and those that are coming in that are just in need. I see that as an opportunity to continue to expand those opportunities for individuals that are either looking for sort of these workshops around how do I dress better? What do I wear? What do I don't wear? Do I wear a tie? Do I not wear a tie? Is it a dress? Is it a skirt? How much of that is there and available to our community? Those are partnership opportunities where we can't do it all, but we can partner together with others that are doing so.
I also want to shout out this morning a good friend of mine, Sharon Fletcher Jones. Sharon does life and career skills training in 33rd Street Jail through Goodwill, through her own organization. And she is so on top of the latest trends in terms of working. And what her goal is to offer these skill sets to people who they're not going to be in 33rd Street forever.
That's right.
So let me put something on your mind when it is time for you to walk out of there. I remember also, I want to shout out Rod Love. Rod Love, when he was one of my favorite people too, with Department of Juvenile Justice, had me in with my Let's Spill the Tea, working with the girls who were just about to come out, and give them real heart-to-heart conversations and have them spill the tea on what their goals were. What do you want to do? You can't always be that trap queen forever.
Right.
You know, that gets old after a while. Let me show you some other things. You can still be an entrepreneur, but let's brush up on some real life skills that are going to help you move your life forward so that you don't have to come back into this juvenile justice system. So that again is what we're trying to do for you with bringing you to the table for CareerSource Central Florida. Tadar Muhammad, again, the new Chief Operating Officer. He said, Monica, I've been in this job 2 months. You want me to come on the radio? And I said, listen, this is not only about CareerSource, this is about what you do and have done for our community in terms of employment, in terms of gainfully respecting people and moving them towards self-sufficiency. And that's something else to add to your title, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I need you to remember that because I forgot it already. That's what happens when you reach my age. You just say it. You just say it. Just say it. Just say it. It's okay. Listen, if you want to reach out to Tadar, you can reach him, T. Muhammad. I'm giving all your T.
Please.
But T. Muhammad, and that is MUHAMMAD at CareerSource, SOURCE, CF.com. And I'm going to, of course, put this up on our website. If we had to ask you, I always ask people to do this for me. Leave me with some words of encouragement for our audience this morning.
Yes. So thank you, Monica. So my words of encouragement, and I say this all the time, be the difference is one. So if you want to be different, do it, number one. And then follow your passion. Passion leads to purpose. And if you're passionate about something, let it lead to your purpose. And oftentimes we take that for granted. Last comment that I think on this area of words is have fun and be positive. Life is so short that you have to have fun. So you got to enjoy. I'm the same person you see here today, whether I'm working, whether I'm not working. I'm always trying to figure out a way to have fun and enjoy doing it. And then being positive. There's so many things that pull us down. There's so many things that are wrong that could be worse. But be positive. So look at people at their best and forget the worst. So look at people at their best.
I love that. I love that. And underestimated. I am going to write that down. Absolutely. And just share that with people, because when we talk about our people who need second chances, I get full because we don't know what led that person
no idea
to get caught.
That's right.
All right.
Circumstances.
Circumstances. Who are we to judge? And if we could just take judgment off the table and look at those people as human beings that need that second chance. Sure, they may have spent some time away from us, but they're back now. And we want to create for them a community that is inviting, invigorating, relentless in holding them up. We have to support them, or else they'll wind up back inside.
Well, and to your point, in being authentic and transparent, which you always have been, but being authentic and transparent, which I live by, is people understand that, even though I came through these difficult situations, I'm authentic and I'm transparent. And I'm going to help you whether you're one or the other. I'm going to help you either way. But I think oftentimes we forget that. And, in sports, we use that as an analogy, right? Okay. So in sports, we say it all the time that, we root for the underdog. We say it all the time that if it's this sport or that sport, we root for the individuals. In this case, I'm rooting for those that don't have a voice or the voiceless, but I'm rooting for the underestimated to be successful, because if they can do it, anybody can.
Amen, amen, amen. One thing I did forget to say throughout this show this morning is that this conversation was pre-recorded, so you didn't have a chance to speak directly to Tadar, but I can give you a way to reach out to him. Go to our website at star945.com. We will post not only the show in its entirety, but you will also find the written information. We'll pull out the highlights of it. Again, Tadar Muhammad, the brand new Chief Operating Officer of CareerSource Central Florida. We appreciate you so much for taking a moment this morning. Congratulations on this phase of your life.
Yes, thank you, Mom.
This is so wonderful. And I'm very proud of you, too.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You're the best.
That was a great conversation, and one that we had a couple of weeks back. He and I had a difficult time hooking up, but once we did, it was just like we hadn't missed a beat. So again, the Chief Operating Officer